Fantastic. It's on. Ready? It's all on, and then this, here's your little clicker. Let me know if you need anything.
Okay, I don't think so. Looks like we're right on point.
Yeah.
So y'all didn't figure there was any farther apart in this room, right? Nobody wants to sit in the center, just get like really far away. One of you is sitting at the Shell station. The other ones are over here on somewhere. It's all right. It's okay. No, it's all right. It's completely fine. So let's dive in. So we last session we talked 36-12-3 was part one. So today was part two. Now I've truncated some of this information down a little bit because we typically teach this course. It's like an 8-hour course, right? And yet at the same time too, I think there's a lot of things that you can pull away from it. If you'd like a copy of the slide deck, ask Madison, she'll send it to you. Have everything that we've got here. So any questions or comments or anything, just raise your hand. We've got a relatively small group, so we can dive right in. So here's our course kind of in a nutshell. So if you look at the first course that we basically talked about, the introduction, validity and positioning, prospecting, marketing, and then leveraging your database. Now what we're going to do, what we're talking about, as we talk about lead generation, we're talking about working with nets, farming, open houses, feasibilities, and agent referrals are going to be our primaries that we're going to talk about today. Again, lead generation tools, opportunities. We're talking a little bit about conversion, right? In most cases, what we find is agents think they have a lead problem, and really they've got a lead conversion problem, right? And it's not that they can't close or I don't know what I'm doing or anything else like that. It's that we just don't do the lead follow-up, which lowers our conversion rate, right? At the end of the day, because how many of you would rather, I guess, pull all your closings out of the people you're already talking to versus every single day find brand new people to start with? Yeah, absolutely. Everybody would. Like, man, if I had enough in my pipeline right now to hit the numbers I need to hit, that would be awesome. But here's what I'm going to tell you. They're in there. They're in there. At some level of conversion, maybe we're not ready today, but at some point. So then legal follow-up obviously becomes really, really important. I'm going to talk a little bit about what that looks like and what it means to live your goals. So start farming. Farming is one of those things that's been around forever. It's been around forever. People have done it. Some guardrails. Because I think sometimes people, as agents, we look at farming and we think, okay, I got to find a farm, right? I got to look for a farm. What does that farm need to be? All these questions around it. So we're going to break it down pretty simple. So first off, it's a market segment. Right? It's all a farm is. Geographical, we're going to see different kinds, but maybe a certain niche that you want to be into. Okay, and that can also dictate your farm. It's basically it's a smaller. By the way, if you realize you're licensed in the state of Kentucky, but nobody who's running down the Paducah to show a house tonight, because if you already should have left, right? You have a license in the entire state. We talk about Central Kentucky. We talk about, I've got agents that are members of multiple boards, things like that. So now market could be a really big market, a niche market. When we talk about farming, and who are the people that you want to get in front of. So I first thought when we say farming is we think geographical farm. Right? And that's the most common. The neighborhood you live in is the first farm that you should start. Gary Keller tells us you should be the agent of choice on the street you live on. Next step, the street next to it, and the one on the other side of it. And then it's that whole neighborhood. Meaning the whole neighborhood that you live in, because you know that neighborhood better than any. Okay. Now, I live out in the country on 20 acres. Okay. We're going to be a little tougher. But you know what? Somebody living on 20 acres in a rural setting knows a whole lot more that than I do living in the city, right? So maybe we're looking at, you know, the farm we're going to work is going to be a little bit, it's going to be with people that own land. So, you know, so that's the real way. It's driven, it's driven simply when we're talking about geographic farming. Demographic farming, now that's who they are. Could be age, gender, net occupation, any one of a number of things. Maybe you speak in particular, just going to allow you to dive into a different nationality or something like that. When we start farming, market, everyone spoke Spanish because I don't speak Spanish. So, demographic. You have agents who say, "Oh, I'm going to sell luxury homes. I want to do luxury." I agree. That's a type of farm based on demographics. And then psychographic farming is that emphasize lifestyles, values, things like that. You know, I'm on particular type of lifestyle. You know, people, maybe I'm a runner, maybe I'm a runner, a jogger, maybe I've got a soft spot in my heart for shelters, whatever it is. But that's going to reach out and talk to people. Specific properties, investment properties, condos. When I say real estate, I work with a lot of investors. I work with a lot of investors. And what I liked about working with them was typically an investor was someone might have a little bit of net worth. Those were like some deals to work. Yet it kept me in constant contact with them. But when they decided to sell the big house, I was the person, right? Because I'd helped them with their investment side of things. So we're talking about farming. Let's make sure we're not just thinking, you know, whatever they are, because this is where we all go. Farming and door knocking and hanging flowers and blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of different things. Yeah, I'm going to go over there in about it. Very good. You know, I really wanted everybody to move, but I wasn't going to make the move. So, it was a service subliminal. I would have come over there. Right? Yeah. So, yeah, no move. So this is funny. So it takes some costume. Dean, literally, it can cost you nothing but time, right? We actually do a little bit of farming when we have an open house and we go around and we go out and we hang out flyers and stuff like that. You know, we all love, I promise you, we would all love to have a farm that had the right turnover rate. We're going to talk about that. A place that we knew, a place that we were comfortable with. It's just oftentimes where we live might not be a great place to farm. And we're going to talk about how we pick one of those up. But it can become the core of the business. If you were a human that bought one of the first houses in the first 5 years out of Masterson Station, okay, and now you live in Masterson Station, you know, 15 years later, and if you'd have just dug in right there, right, you would have going with us. There's more houses in that subdivision, I think, than any subdivision in Lexington. I mean, it's massive, and I think they're still living. I think they're still living since 70.
Yes.
And they're still living. So there's property. Someone has the bedroom, common down, right? Down, and they don't even have to leave that neighborhood, right? So we all can go down. Super good. So become the core of your business. One thing to please take away from this little section here. Become the agent of choice in the neighborhood you live in, the area that you live in, the town that you live in, something. I've shared lots of stories of when I lived in Still Meadow and I was representing Jimmy Nash Homes. And I don't know if I remember everybody who lived there, building those two houses. And here was the thing. This is a cautionary tale. We supported the agent community at a really high level. Okay, I mean, we just did because we wanted them to bring a full commission, love them, and drop their customers off and wave goodbye, and I'd take them, sell them, get them ready to go, and deliver the contract once to a Sotheby's agent whose customer stumbled into one of our houses on the weekend. She wasn't happy, but we got through it. So, oh, by the way, the people came in this weekend and I sold my house and I had a commission in there and everything else like that. I thought it was a great thing, but she did not. But too, anyways, long story. So, maybe I'll limit you with that area, especially know that it doesn't limit you. It's just an area of concentration. It's a place where you feel like you can put the additional effort in, you get the percents that you desire. Okay, it should allow you to have a stronger presence than trying to farm 50 different locations. Right? Don't be wrong. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be your only source of business. It can be something that you do in conjunction with everything else. And again, it's one of those things. If you got mailers and mass marketing, that's you can drop mail, right? Just listed, just sold, things like that. Open house. Probably doing all this in one community. I wanted to, maybe the price range was where I wanted to be, the turnover, it was where to be. But it's marketing and prospecting. You're going to do both. Right? You're going to do both. We're going to talk about it now a little bit later today. And one of the things is you got to be consistent, right? The way you do your open house should be the same every single time. That way you get really good at it, right? You can start and stop your farming efforts. No, you start and then you just keep going. They got to see you. They got to be. It's got to be out there. And there's lots of different ways to do this. We have people that do farming, and that's the only thing they do. And the Keller Williams ecosystem, when they sell 50, 60 million, and all they do is farm. And their capture rate in some of these communities is they literally get 80% of the sales. So you can drive it, right? You can drive it. So select our farm, okay? First thing we're talking about is proximity, okay? An area that you know, right? One of the areas that you know that you can say, well, yeah, I know a lot about this. I don't know a lot about this neighborhood. Maybe maybe I just kind of stay here. So keep in mind that keep in mind, there's some things that you need to consider, okay? What are your goals? My goal is to sell 50 million, and I'm looking at a farm of 20 houses. I'm probably gonna do something else, right? Because even if I got 80% of the sales in there, right, based on turnover rate, look at your budget. If my budget is big, it's low, I don't have it, right? Then that's gonna dictate what I'm able to do. It's your effort. At your time, the money that you can spend. What's the size of the farm? Okay, are there enough houses to sustain what you'd like to do? If it's a neighborhood that you're going to farm and it's relatively close to where you live, okay, you can have 2 or 3 small farms and you can break them all. Okay? You can work on them. But that's why location's important. People in there that you are. Oh, that's some one. I sold the Joneses their house up the street and everything else like that. And I'm not today just talking to homeowners. You can sell a few houses a year in a particular farm. You can, again, just listen, just sold, welcome to the neighborhood. I mean, you can drop mail, you can do things like that. Average sale price, agents a lot of times will come in and say, "Oh, how do I increase my average sale price?" Okay, farming is a great way to do that. Farming is a great way to target an area that you're going to market to, you're going to prospect, and you're going to farm, you're going to cultivate, you're going to plant seeds. That's why we call it farming. Okay. You're not just going to roll through there, right? And drop off a bunch of door hangers and all like that. Farm that one, on to the next one. Door hangers might be a part of it, right? Maybe part of it is to call the Homeowners Association, ask them if they have any events coming up, and if they're looking for sponsors. Do you know what the answer to that question always is? Yes, they're looking for sponsors. They're always looking for sponsors, right? I'd love to do a raffle or something like that, or sponsor the next thing, right? Turnover rate. Okay, so let's look at this. This is something important. I want to write this down. Look at the farm and think, "Man, this is awesome. This looks fantastic. Great low price, good sale price, everything like that." What's the turnover rate? In other words, how many houses sell in a year? Okay, how many houses sell in a year? So if I have a homes, okay, and let's say 10 sell a year, my turnover rate 10%. Okay? That's a good turnover rate. Let me tell you something. 10 is the magic number. Okay? What's the magic number? If you have a neighborhood that has 100 homes and written sales a year, gonna be hard to justify the time, energy, and maybe capital resources to fund that area. Right. So we're shooting for 10. Okay. Figure 10% turnover on some locations, and it would be awesome. Some maybe not. It's just some. If we find out Masterson and our turnover rate was 7, we'll be okay. Yeah. Just so many houses, right? Now, with so many houses selling, that means that we have competition, right? But yet we have to have something to sort of give us an idea of what the opportunity is there for us. Because there's some neighborhoods where people don't move. We got in Lexington. They never move. Right? I mean, it's like.
That's what I just went to Interlocking, and the least was 15 years, the most was 35 years.
Yeah.
And so the average was about 20 something, like people have been there since the 1970s. Wow. Yeah, that age group was getting ready to be eventually, I mean, they're the boomers. Yeah. They're moving. Yeah. They've got some wealth, they're good to target at this point. Yeah, I'm gonna tell them. As everybody involved in there, it's just the original owners.
Yeah.
I think Sundays. Yeah.
Yeah, and usually when there's usually a lot of equity there, right? When the areas that have like turnover, there's thinking about it. Yeah. Was there for input, and remember too, there's something when that was called shadow inventory.
Yes.
It basically means it's the inventory that those people are literally sitting there ready to sell. And they haven't called anyone about anything, you know, the farming efforts could lead to a consultation, right? They could lead to a consultation. People to do business with that they know, like, and trust. Okay, well, the way they get to know you is when you farm, right? Maybe it's door knocking, maybe it's have something in Stillman called the kid. I actually started. It was called the Kids Olympics. Right? We had a field day at school, right? So we did all of that, and it was a good thing. And I got people ran through on. I was like, well, we'd like to thank her. I mean, I didn't shooting. It's just like when somebody take the mic away from on the races, they almost had it there. So that was a real estate agent. That would be me, right? You would bring your customer to Jimmy Ash. We would build them a home. They would live in it for 10 years, and when they went to sell it, they did not believe. They called me, and I sold it as a resale. Right? Who better to sell their house than the person that built it, right? And guess what? They knew me. Couldn't remember. I was saying, if I was a listing agent, right? So just think about that. It's going to be two to think of. There's going to be some neighborhoods that outrun market conditions. They just do. We know that first-time home buyer market is typically, there's always people entering the market, right? That's always going to be there. People with a lot of equity, they're still going to get out there in the game because, you know, they're not going to be as sensitive to interest rates and things like that. Anyways, different competition, is it already being followed? Find out if there's competition in a particular neighborhood. That's a good question.
Other for sale signs.
What's that, other for sale sign? Yes. So that's going to tell us immediately what's going on. What else?
MLS.
What's specifically about the MLS?
You can see if there's houses listed there, news agent,
Yeah, previous sales.
previously.
Yeah, so go and look at what's sold last 2 years. Is one person dominating it? But you're probably going to see, no, it's not. There was a time when if you went to Andover Forest, right up the street, Sue Grill had a chokehold in that community. I mean,
Tactics were amazing.
oh yeah, yeah,
She had a little notebook. She
Yeah.
had the whole thing locked down,
yeah.
but we did it and it was quite amazing.
So it was before the internet was big and all these HOAs had their own website. She used to do it directly. Everybody that lived in the neighborhood lived it directly. Like all the synopsis, picture of them, picture of the house, they had the bio, and she took care of printing the entire thing. It was like this thick, and then what kind of dog they had, if you saw a stray dog or anything like that. You can think about it. I guess it's Labrador. but she sold advertising in it. With her bank was one of her things. So she got that whole thing made. It didn't cost her anything. And then when new people moved to the neighborhood, she dropped off these little packages, had an information card in, had a gift card on the neighborhood real estate agent. Don't call him those other clowns. It didn't say that. She had the card, she had the information card, self-addressed stamped envelope, professionally done with her stuff on it. They filled out the questionnaire, and that part of it was on cardstock. Strapped it in, and then they got their name in it for the next time she printed it. And she printed new ones every year. That was average, at that time, probably average shelf has about 650.
She has
So-
established herself as a neighborhood. You're correct on that.
And Sue dominated that neighborhood, but she probably only sold 25% of the houses.
She sold it.
It's started locked down, right? They really thought the neighborhood was locked down because it just felt like Sue was everywhere. She had an open house, she had a sign runner, she had an open house, she had signs all over the neighborhood. I mean, there'd be 20 signs in the neighborhood with her name, right, her contact information on it, and there's an arrow, and then somewhere on the sign about this big, it said open house. But they were basically Sue signs, right? And I mean, just driving that. But it was just kind of a foregone confusion. So there's some things, just kind of an overview of it. Sure, what kind of market shares there? What kind of market centers available? Budget, guys, the budget isn't just money. It's got to be your time. If there's a super hot neighborhood, man, and it's just, it fits all the numbers, and it's an hour away, probably not a great farm for me. Right? That was just, I mean, I'm not doing it. I'm driving there spending 2 hours to, you know what I mean? Just, and I'm not going to notice it. And I have to, somewhere between in 2 hours, there's probably a better farm for them. Right? But don't forget, it's time and money. You have a budget for both. Size starts adjacent streets and neighborhood. It's even everybody in a smaller neighborhood, right? Again, you start with the neighborhood that you live in, or if it's not a neighborhood, just get a radius map, draw a radius and say, that's my farm, right? Location, accessibility, geographic boundaries, desirability. That's, I've seen agents start a farm in an area where they sold the house. And they thought, man, what a great area. I've got several people. Let's have these houses, right? And here's the thing, if you sell one and it's in good shape, but it's only 9 years old, it's about how old everything else is. Everything else is probably 8 to 12, right? Somewhere in there. National average 4%. We want at least 10. So there are some that are higher than 10. Okay, 10's our number. Get on the MLS, look over the past years, figure out how many houses are in the neighborhood, then go through and figure out how many have sold and calculate it. Now, if it's 7% and it's the adjacent neighborhood to where you live, that's going to be compelling, right? Because the other thing is, you're talking about being the neighborhood expert because I actually live right down the street, right? Anyways, share what's the competition look like? Remember, Sue had a market share percentage we would calculate is about 25. But the money share piece was way higher because I thought she had more. You know, so keep that in mind. In their mind, if you want your house sold, I'll serve it, right? You're fit for the farm, can you relate? Can you fit in with them, right? It's going to help you, right? It's going to help you. It's people you know, an area that you know, a lifestyle that you know, and all those things will come into it. Here's some different niches that are out there: generations, renters, foreign-born customers, second-home investment buyers, luxury homes, the real estate agents. Hey, if you want to sell a luxury home, right? Then basically start working on marketing and prospecting to the houses in the price range that you want to be in. That's what you do. Start building everything around that. And other niches, single buyers, pet-friendly neighborhoods, student housing, golf course properties. Some people, first-time home buyers, seminars for that, the condos, urban development. This is this is getting more popular in Lexington. Right? Jimmy Nash is dropping those townhomes over here on Todd Road. If you've seen them there with the golf course used to do. So Jimmy got with Dennis Anderson and they bought the clubhouse and everything there. With Carson is. Yeah. So before you get to coming from that world, before you get to the old end of the Austin Country clubhouse. Right there. So we built those. Then they bought where the Carson's restaurant is, and bought that. And then they built the driving range. That's what all their land is to the left, and they've been basically filling that in for the last 4 years. So they started building those next group of townhomes that they'll build on that driving range. They're doing 2 million.
Average, like each, whatever, I think, though.
And they'll be, and it's like right there on Todd Road. I mean, it's just crazy to me. So again, it's a different type of living, right? Jim Moore, if you guys ever want to get any information on that, good friend of mine, works for Jimmy. Jim does a great job of selling that lifestyle. Here's why. He believes in that lifestyle because he keeps a place in Miami, Florida, right? He has the condo that he lives in that's in the right spot and everything else like that. And then when he's here, he lives on a farm out in the middle of nowhere. Right? Yeah. So back and forth. Anyways, so the farm. Generally, hey, and then money. We talked about this 2 or 3 times, right? You got to think about lead generation and lead capture every time we're around people. Right? 1, we have to let them know what we're doing. 2, we have to let them know that if they know anyone that has plans, we can help them. Because that's on 24/7. It's not, well, if you know anybody wants to buy someone invest in real estate, I'm the person. Here's my card. It's a fruit magnet, right? Baseball cap. It doesn't have to be all that, right? But we do have to start thinking about there's no cost to basically talk to people and let them know what you do. Right? I think it's just you have to master that piece. When I first got into sales, we called it the 3-foot rule. Anybody I come within 3 feet of, tell them what to do. And here's the way you do that. You ask them what they did. So just fantastic. So you live in town, or did you come in for the wedding? You live here. Oh, fantastic! How are we doing that? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. For me, same agent. Same time, it goes that way, right? Yeah, I mean, it's like we go places on the job, like I know what that guy does for a living, right? And I go there, yeah, right. But that's the way we can do it. And that's a form of lead generation. People love to talk about real estate, right? Establish your reputation. Your reputation, you have a strong reputation. Here's the thing: if we move real estate, great. It's a real conversation. Other Rooms has a great reputation. Other Rooms Common has a great reputation. I know we have a great reputation out there because we sell more real estate than anybody in Central Kentucky. So we must be doing something right, right? And be sincere about what you do, prospecting, relationship farming, prospecting based marketing. Talked about this in step 1. So we're going to base our business on prospecting, which is taking action, because we can control that. If you go spend money on a billboard, you can't control how many people drive by. And then you can't control how many people write the phone number down. And you can control how many people are going to call the number. So we mix it in. We mix it in the time that phone marketing enhanced would be. Let me sponsor your chili cook-off, right? Let me sponsor your chili cook-off. Do you guys have a trophy? Trophy? Yeah, like but do you have a trophy? If I got you a big trophy and that goes for nameplates for every year. There was a traveling trophy and the winner gets to take it home. And that's still metal. Yeah, the names on there. We're going to go and see that NCAA trophy. And the trophy, you know what I mean? It was wacky, right? Traveling trophy, and they got a little trophy. And on the top of the trophy was so cool, a picture of me and the phone number. No, I'm kidding. So there's a small, right? Yeah. Somebody at that time, they were like, no, it's a bad idea. It's a dumb idea. And I said, let me go tell it. Let me show you the mock-up. See the mock-up. It's a stupid idea. You know, right? I mean, golly, so. I mean, this. So let's not be harder, right? It might be past clients. Team, I've seen people build a farm, say one house to a great person, use that person's name to do and do some stuff, and then and it was a close proximity, and then they would have an open house, right? As then you get hold of it, as is open for agents that don't want to open. That's some of them feels a little icky, right? We're going to talk today about networking with other real estate agents. That's how you get past that, right? That's how you get past that's that. You have agents that you know and that you do business with. For advocates who refer business, you know, most of them, their first name is Karen. No, I'm kidding. But they know. It says, it said, no everybody's business. That's a different thing altogether. You want to know those two? We'll tell you. Well, hey, tell you something. They've been ready to move. They've been ready to get divorced. You know, anyways. That's from contribution, big value to people face to face. If you have an opportunity. We had a HOA meeting for Autumn Ridge. And it's getting into how when we had it. It was it's on the schedule. And if you've got an HOA in your neighborhood, every big meeting like that, sponsor it. Buy a spread of food. We always have food. They're saying now we're gonna have food and some snacks and something. They got water and little bags of chips. That's all the HOA has. I mean, I don't mind anything else. But if you were the age before then, and you had something, you'll just spend a lot of money, right? And in return, that I'd like is somewhere around about 4 to 5 minutes to take a look at, to just speak to everyone and talk about how many homes I sold. If we lived in that neighborhood, I would bring them. I talk about all the people that I knew in that neighborhood. Gosh, I worked with the Joneses and the Smiths and the Andersons and the Johnsons too, and everything else like that. And my property, you know, whatever, right? I'm going to do all that. I'm going to bring the food. And then as I'm speaking, someone is going to literally give out flyers, or maybe 2 people, to everybody in the room. It's going to be a pattern interrupt for what they're doing. You're just sitting there going into a pump, right? And I'm going to be very light, and I'm going to do that and do that one minute of energy, right? And then I'm going to thank everyone, and I'm going to show a lot of gratitude and for the opportunity. And they're going to say, well, thank you so much for being food. I mean, guys are sitting hard. That's marketing, right? When you buy the food, pass out the flyers, that's marketing. And that's a good approach. You know, I've been working with clients in this neighborhood for the last 8 years, right? And so fortunate to meet so many wonderful people. Why did I say that? I have that conversation. We talked about that, right? There's neighborhood yard sales, things like that. Some of them have HOAs. Don't assume because they got an HOA that the HOA is doing it wrong.
That's true.
You know, and if they got one, you might ask them who the treasurer is, because that's the person that does everything, right? The treasurer typically, or they know the most, or all the roads lead back to them. In Autumn Ridge, I'm the president. Guess who the treasurer is? Who? No, not that good. No, Jackie. Jackie. Yeah, it's not another. So he's at the table. Start sitting across the table. The school says something. Somebody like $12.82. Jackie goes, I'm sorry, I don't mean to go. Give me the name and number right now. I'll have that money in 48 hours. And I was like, hey, Jackie, well, you know, let's go get a coffee, right? She became on MCA. No, real. That's how those things work. So yeah, I'm always on. I'm never off. But you're gonna have to bear with it when I go down these money trails because I tend to lose them. I try to follow over that. Yeah, this is seminars, classes, guys. Seminars and classes can be really simple. It can be a sign-in sheet for some home seminars. Bring these people along. You know, market your listings aggressively. We market our listings to attract buyers, to attract agents, to attract other sellers. Okay, and whenever you're marketing, make sure you do a nice marketing piece, be it a flyer, an advertisement, or anything, right? Whether you pay for it or not, that becomes part of my listing presentation. Here's a property, right? And when I get really good, I can say, so here's 3 properties that we have for sale in this neighborhood, and we sold this one, and you know, boom, 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 3 successful clients, they were wonderful people. Get to know the renters and landlords, those rents and expireds. Anytime a physical expired comes up in your neighborhood, you need to be on it, right? You need to be on it. Like I say, with the marketing, I kind of see that as I know the neighborhood. I understand the people. If I'm talking to someone, they're like, it's like, oh, there's there, right? You know, I know the age of the homes, I know what to see. Yeah, there's only 12 houses in the neighborhood that have a basement. Oh, well, yeah. So a lot of the homes that don't have basements, what they do have is they have like a bonus room on the back of the home. Because the lots are a little bit bigger than some of the other areas in Lexington. So if it doesn't have a basement and has a bonus room on the back, would that be something we can put on the list to see? Yes. Okay, fantastic. I'll make sure we look at those too. I learned those things by asking great questions, right? Okay. Look at QR code because that is it goes to the playbook for that goes to a playbook for farming and the MREO playbook thing where all that stuff lives. So take a hit that and whip that, keep that on there.
And Madison can send us all the slides for this, correct?
What's that?
Madison can send us all the slides for this.
She can. Yep, she certainly can. Right? Yeah, no, I know, yeah, no, I want. No, I mean, it's just like, and there's the thing, we got the slide, there's 162 slides for those courses. Right, like almost 170 slides. Truncated down to the ones that are to allow me to teach this class in 2 hours. And that's there. Yes, the MREO playbook is a tool that you have. And let me tell you again what it is, because I think it's absolutely fantastic. So we went out into the KW ecosystem and we found the people that absolutely crush it in every type of different facet of lead generation. If you had 10 sources of lead gen, roughly 90% of your business would come from 3. The rest would come from some of the others, okay? Inside, there's a lot of information in that playbook to basically the best open house, the best farming techniques, all those different pieces. So anyways, we've got some of those scattered in there. Increase the size of your farm. You got to keep that in mind because your costs, efforts might go up, right? Prospecting might require more time, right? Efforts. But basically, you're always going to be working to increase the size of your farm, the prospecting level that you're working with, and the marketing. Now, the reason this is number 3 is because there's a cost there. Let's maximize our farm prospecting efforts, right? Let's feed them the things that we can do that don't cost anything. Okay, the things that we can do that don't cost anything. So keep an eye on that. That was it's pretty easy to graph. It's a lot of some folks think, right? What are your thoughts? Everybody?
On farming. Maybe of the neighborhood, and then I was looking at, whenever I was trying to see like Andover Hill, they got like a little section in front of the Andover Estates, it's like part of the neighborhood, but not exactly. Would you include that when looking at like calculating your numbers for like turnover rate, if everything stuff like that, or would you just keep it mostly?
That's really good. That's actually a really good question with regards to farming, because here's the opportunity with Andover. Okay, so you got Andover Forest, you got Andover Hills, you got Andover Green, you have houses that are sitting on the golf course, 6-car garage, right? And then, you know, not too far down the street, you've got another area of houses, you know, are considerably smaller, right? On the golf course, off the golf course, you got some you get some $500,000, $400,000 to $500,000 townhomes back in there too, right? Just across from Autumn Ridge. Autumn Ridge doesn't show up if you're looking at Andover, but it's right there. We've also got Danbury, which is right there as well. So it's all kind of mixed together. So I looked at it from a geographical perspective, because what you'll probably find is there's a group of homes in this kind of the same price range and stuff like that. Like I would be hitting up the people in Danbury, right? And also farming Andover Forest at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's probably going to look a little bit different, right? But you can those are both subdivisions, and command will separate them.
So very, divided.
Yeah, so, and then I talked about too, so, and you know, I was talking about stuff, Jimmy is gonna put in over that, you know, townhomes at $1.5 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you got those, right across the street, right? Is Autumn Ridge, you got houses that are at 350,
Right.
right? So, I mean, so just take a look at it. You can farm it all. I would maybe cut it up a little bit separate, because the marketing may just look a little different.
Yeah.
The efforts might look a little bit different.
Yeah.
But like HOA, the Autumn Ridge is just Autumn Ridge. It's just the 237, 76, something like that, 250, 260 homes right in that whole thing. Yeah. But great question. Great question. Start small, get really good, get really good at it, and get your systems in place, what works. Yeah.
Here's one too. I feel like in this day and age, people respond better to when you like have something to give them. And I was telling you, I live in like an apartment. It's like a duplex and neighborhood really, with all these different apartment complexes.
Yeah.
Would it be a good idea to like maybe do a giveaway where they could, you give them something, they scan, if they sign up, it's your contact base, they register for like a $50 gift card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Introducing yourself.
Yep, that, some people, you just, you get, how do you get rid of that, right? So everybody know. So here's something that I did when I was, farming, apartment complexes. I had a big bag, like one of those things you get with like coupons in it. And all the coupons, I hit up the vendors that lived around the area that was going to farm, and they gave me food coupons for stuff, because they always have the extras that they, you know, they have all those. And they'd give me those, or they'd make something up and print it for me. So I literally stuffed the entire bag. And it had stuffed the entire bag, and it didn't cost me anything. It was full of coupons and stuff. And they were all like maybe half size. There was only one large piece of paper on there, and that was my piece. Oh, so it was show right? So, but I was looking for the first time home buyer. So it could be something that was to drive people to a first time home buyer event. Could be something where they could just call right now. Now, people that own the apartments didn't think it was awesome, right? I mean, trying to pull the people out of there, right? And that didn't really bother me. It was okay with it, so I felt like they should be too. Yeah. Yeah. So just, if there are functions, or if there's like an internal thing, I'll tell you one that's out there that I see people, if it's a neighborhood you're part of, it's the app called for the neighborhoods and stuff. What's that called? Next door. Yeah, next door. I mean, gotta be careful there, but there are, you know, everything. If you want to talk about marketing, every one of those apps now. I mean, you can't watch a YouTube video without an ad coming up. So if you want to get into that game, there's a way to do it. But I think the first time home buyer thing is would be a great angle. You could schedule it. You could have it on a particular day with the Mark Center. So that would be a career night, and you would see if 10, 20 people have buying your first home, right? You know, don't wait, right? Don't wait to buy a home and then wait, right? There's some kind of a stat on there. There's never been a this long in time the real estate's ever lost money. There's never been a stretch of 30 years the real estate has lost money. It's actually lower than 30, but yeah, maybe something like that. I mean, most people before they buy. So I don't know what the percentage is. You could probably run some AI and figure it out, and then you can probably figure out how many doors you got and look at how many cells are sitting right there. But you're in the complex and the way you live with all the multifamily and the duplex like that, that could literally be your farm.
Yeah.
Right?
There's so, I mean, there's a lot, there's,
Yeah.
I'd say 75.
Yeah. Just-
Long walk, that comes to me. I mean, honestly, you're
Yeah.
sold to, I've got one under contract right now. They've been renting an apartment for many, many years. They're ready to buy, so the
Yeah.
veterans are a good target. One little thing, not to interrupt you. Remax, they told me this, she picks up just crazy stuff off Amazon or whatever, and she gives away as a drawing every week. It's online, she does it on her social media. She said tack and stuff could be just like a tape measure, some of it branded, an umbrella, it could just be a $2 thing. She said her clientele gets so flippant, sometimes she has it dropped through Amazon to the winner, or she'll take it over to. You can do branded items, there's 50 million gazillion ideas.
Yeah. So if you wanted to, if we're gonna give away some kind of a something that's about this road, right? Wrap it up. This month's winner, and you go to their house to give it to them, and they gotta take a picture, and you're right there, and get your name tag on and all this stuff. I mean, it's just, that, what's that cost?
Do you legally one with a something small branded, people.
And it's my share. And it's my share. You can do a magnet thing with all those people, right? If you get to that level of frequency will be key. So if we're gonna do it, do a high level of frequency, just watch your costs, right? Watch your costs. We have those workshops where we do odds, a workshop. That's what that is. Right. You got the last one? No, so, okay, that's all right. One day you'll come and then sell 10 houses in a week. No, I'm kidding. But that's all that is. It's just a reason to knock on the door. So, hey, I'm just saying, I just want to come over and just give them, I'm actually a real estate agent. I live in one of the, one of the units, or I'm in the duplex right across the street. And I think a lot of first time home buyers in this area because, you know what, that's the road I'm on as well. And boom. And here's the thing, you don't have to own a house to know how to sell a house and deliver a great experience. No, because I'm pretty sure no one talks about Bill Belichick's career in the NFL because he didn't play. And he's arguably one of the best coaches to ever, step on the field, right? So, yeah, this is a favorite of mine. Because when I sold real estate, I sold new construction. So we had them all. So it's like every day was an open house, right? Are you at the open house to sell the house or pick up buyers and sellers? Both. You're there to get buyers, sellers, sell that house. I mean, referrals. You're there because you've created an event that historically and has stood the test of time. People will come. They will come. And yet, everything you do before the open house is really where the success lies. So, because you take 134 of them and visit an open house, it's about 40%, right? He was the agent from the open house. 100 buyers, 44 good open houses, 5 of the 44, which is just a little more than 10%, right? Actually use the agent from the open house. Right? 39 of them that leave the open house represented by another agent and unrepresented. I don't care what they tell you, right? And even when they go, we have an agent. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I've been a member for 20 years now. What agent are you working with? Now, you don't have to do that. And you feel an uncomfortable moment there. It's good because I like to play the numbers, right? So anyways, whatever they tell you, obviously if they tell you they have an agent, then you're gonna, you can ask them who it is and then say, oh my gosh, yes, fantastic person, right? If you know them. Anyways, but the reality is most of them get in and out of the open house unrepresented, they don't even leave contact information. So your goal is to capture that information. Your goal is to have some sort of a way to follow up, because at the end of the day, 90% of your sales come from follow-up. I've seen digital sign, I've seen the QR code. Everybody wants a flyer. That's why you take your flyers and you put them in the kitchen cabinet somewhere where nobody can see them. Because then when they go, do you have any flyers? Actually, we'll get you one. We'll get you one right now. And first, I just need you to fill out that registration card, and then I'll get you a flyer. Because if anybody steals anything, I wanted to send the police to. No, I'm kidding. I'm asking, get some feedback on everything. It has all your contact information. It's got a few places for feedback. And because we want that, we can share it with the seller. Let's be a professional. And then when back to you, it's like I go. Listen, it's really crappy. I mean, you've got the John, Jane, Joe, whatever. Right. Just give them a call. Give them a call. Yeah. Some agents are like, oh, it just seems confrontational. Well, like, okay, well, here's the thing. If I'm going to speak in that open house, I'm going to capture the information. That's why I'm here. And I've never had anybody tell me no. I don't think I've had anybody tell me no. And I want them to tell me their agent's name and still fill one out. And I tell them to write their agent's name on it. And I call the agent and say, hey, Johnny and Salvador came in. They love this house. Did you know they were out there looking? Yeah. Some couple of weeks ago, I said, well, they're living back in it. They're living in a brand new house. And I don't know what the price range was, but this is probably 650 grand. They're like, yeah, they probably buy it, bro. They told me we don't want to spend it. I said, they want to go over 500. I said, well, because I'm a better salesperson than you are, but that's okay. We don't have to get into that. Let's go, right? Yes, it's people will spend. Yeah. They would max out whatever it is, right? So, now if anybody's just looking for that's your bunch of you can build an entire real estate empire in open houses. You absolutely can, right? Experienced agents, person seller leads. You can get sellers. People are going to come. We know this because people that get to a certain echelon in this business, they actually like get the tow truck to come and park in front of the open house. And you know what they want to do? All those nosy neighbors, they're like, bring them all. And then guess what? Now they're getting mind share, right? The 200 people through the home. Sellers are ecstatic because guess what everyone else people are going to do? Go and tell their friends. Hey, house sell. But you know, again, I'm not telling you to go out and do your first open house with the taco truck and the ice cream truck. But at the same time, what's that? So things can't have an open house. Use someone else's. Just get someone else's. That's good to win for you, right? Hey, you do somebody's open house. Send them a nice thank you card. Right? You know what I mean? Even if somebody in the same office with you, one of these, send them a thank you card. Tell them that you appreciate it. You know, if you want to buy some flowers and leave them on the table for the seller, right? Or something, whatever. But just thank them because you'll get called again. You'll get the, you want to hold that first open house. Stuff sitting on the market just a little bit longer than it was. So the open house is a little bit more, I mean, sellers on, they're savvy. I really about doing an open house this weekend. They're like, we don't need to do an open house. It's going to be sold, this is going to be sold in 3 days. And we don't want to leave, and we don't want to stay gone for 2 hours. So we don't want to do an open house. It could happen. I mean, so people are saying, wow, sitting open houses, they're not here sitting there, right? You got to look at open house. You got to work them. You got to see what's going. You get those trained. You know, I like the couple that comes in and one goes downstairs, one goes upstairs. They're like, kind of freeze yet, right? Kind of like divide and conquer. You know what I mean? So, and then they both go out the back door without registering or anything else like that. Just you got to discern them quickly. You spend your time. There'll be a couple of times during the day where it'll just be a little bit of a rush, right? There'll be more people need to handle. Get with them at that point in time. I would really work toward getting everybody registered, things like that. Open houses, again, sellers, referrals, different things like that. Set a goal for the open houses. I used to tell brand agents, just go ahead and schedule yourself for an open house from now to the end of your first 5 years in the business. You're going to be working every Sunday. Here's why. It's absolutely, if you're not going to be Jen, or you're going to be a little tentative, you absolutely meet people that are thinking real estate. I mean, I don't care what they tell you. When they're there in that open house, here's the appeal to your logical side of your brain, right? This is the facts, right? So the bottom of the pie graph, right? So not pie graph, but the bottom of the graph is always what? Right? That's time. And over here, we're going to basically we'll say we'll just look at this as like activity, right? So here's what it looks like. Activity on their search for a new home, right? So here's the starting point. This is what it looks like. These are months, right? This is how wide they start here. This is homes on the planet Earth. That's how wide their search is. They're just playing, just looking at stuff. And then as time goes on, right, they start narrowing it down. I mean, let's live in the United States. Okay. Let's live in Kentucky. Yeah. Let's live in Lexington. Yeah. Let's live in Andover. Right? Right here. That's when they'll start going to open houses. So I don't care what they told you, just looking, the odds are, right? And there's different studies on that. You get on, I can't look at it, but this number here could be somewhere from 6 to 18 months. All this. So when they get there, they're walking back in the house. They're ready. They have been out there for a while. They have discerned a lot of information. They have looked at commutes and travel and everything else like that. They're not just starting, which is what they'd like you to believe. Right? So keep that piece in mind. If they're at your office, they deserve something. They deserve to be stayed in touch with. So they're my favorites will tell you. You have open houses to capture buyers. You're not really ready to sell the house. In this market, with a shortage of inventory, we have, it's not another thing. It's just that it's the evolution of the market, right? So keep those things together, right? Do everything to get many people there. Set a goal. I mean, your goal for your business is how many people visit. It's the goal. You got to push 50 people through here. So when you say that, you're like, "Oh, I get 50." Yes, ma'am.
Do you still have any of the open house kits, or can you order those?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Phenomenal, if y'all would see that.
Yeah. Consistently. Just right. Take that Monday to follow up for business on Sunday. Danny just did this. She teamed up with some other agents in a new community. How many houses you have?
Almost 7.
7 houses, and not everybody was clear that some RE/MAX folks. And listen, everybody can see the I guess the scale, right? 5 or 6. It's more advertising. It's more this. It's more that, right? So, but actually, you guys got out there. Some of the other agents from companies that will remain nameless show up.
Yeah.
So. So, team, tell them what you're going to do and then do it, right? Tell them what you're going to do and then do it. And again, things that work, right? We set our goals, we know we're going to open, stage the home. Now, stage the home could be anything from hiring a stager and paying them $5,000 to telling these people that the glitter box has got to go behind the garage for the thing and lock up that back. Behind the garage too. put some water in there, whatever, I don't know, but you gotta get it ready to go. If it's cold, it's hard to move through, right? If there's some things there that just don't, the vibe's wrong, right? Just to it. That listing appointment, and yet the day-to-day still needs to be addressed for open house. Our best foot forward, folks. Right? I'm gonna do everything I can to get people into this house. Let's make sure when they get in here, there's nothing to basically it's on the list. See, we're not, we gotta, when they come in that open house, they're looking for reasons to take things off the list. They're not looking for reasons to buy, looking for reasons to say no, right? Depending on the market too, right? Stage it, prepare, and to prepare them with that. Prepare with relationships, prepare with the neighborhood market expert. Tell you what these are right here. If you do everything you're supposed to do, marketing your open house, putting out your signs, going out in the neighborhood, handing out flyers, it doesn't matter if anybody comes to the open house. Because if you're doing that at a high level, you will get other business, right? You will get other people's business. If she has an open house in the neighborhood where she's had a sale and she got multiple offers, she knocks on the door and she's got the contacts that they didn't take in her hand. She door knocks it and says, yes, we're really looking for some other inventory because on this particular house here, these are the offers that didn't go. So there's still people that want to live in here who would like to sell their home because I've got 2 buyers ready to go.
That's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got her names blacked out and stuff like that. But I mean, what a great way there, and that would be because she had the listing and she obviously was privy to that information. And yet, and you can tell, hey, the last 7 or 8 houses that have sold in here have sold at on average in about 8 days. So, do you anybody who needs to sell a house in 8 days? Move on to something else, They would like to sell a house, but we with that. We've got buyers who are actually buying the houses and renting them back to the people for a nominal amount while they find out. We can put that in a listing contract. Good, yeah. We're busy today. I'm trying to talk to everybody in the neighborhood. However, the afternoons would be better for us to sit down and do a consultation. So we have all the information that you need. Because I'm maybe standing back there. No, kidding. But it's like, let's do that, right? Let's do it. So this opportunity when you're doing an open house is that it's you will ever do. Right? I told y'all stories about Caroline selling pest control day with them. You did. Yeah. They knocked doors on July 4th to 6 p.m. I said, how you come over to the house? She said, it's going to be a little bit of that. She said, I'm knocking doors till 6. I'm like, dang. I said something like, go get them. And she texts me back. She goes, Dad, ... Send. And the next one said, I'm a dog. Capital D-A-W-D. You don't understand that. I'm a dog. I'm like, we'll get them there. Well, go get them. Yeah. So she's running that. She's number 3. Number 3 out of all the reps as far as that goes. So I'm like, don't really think about that. I'm like, well, yeah, looks like that. Yeah. I said something to somebody and they're like, oh, that's your daughter. You sort of built her that way. I'm like, could be. Settle house goals. Number of leads you want to get. We talked about this with their sellers. You're looking for your goals to be driven around attendance. You're also looking to build a system that is duplicated. So every time you have like your open house, like your procedure, your kit, right? You don't want it each time. Because what you'll figure out over time is that your ability to, you'll know what works and what doesn't work for you. I did that and it didn't really work. That's why a great question to ask everybody in an open house is like, hey, I'm just curious. How did you hear about an open house today? And they're going to tell you, oh, we saw it on Facebook. Oh, we saw the signs. Oh, we live in the neighborhood right down the street, right? Word of mouth. Anyone, we saw your marketing. So you always want to know where people came from when they come in, because it also lets you hold your marketing dollars accountable, okay? Is it in a high traffic area? Which house? Which one do you hold open? I'm gonna tell you right now, it's in the neighborhood, it's for sale, that's the one. Just not a lot of them. And some of our sellers are, I don't want to do an open house for whatever reason, if it's selling really quickly. Stage, what do you see when you walk in the seller's open house checklist? You know, these are the things you're going to do before we do the open house. I used to tell them to do things like, rug you got in the bathroom? Yeah. And put it under the sink. And then I give them all those instructions, and they can listen, shampoo bottles and all, like, and then I put all that under the sink. Invariably, I get the call at the open house, oh, where's the shampoo? Took everything in the bathroom and I put it under the together. Okay, all right, thanks. Yeah, we would tell you, we're in here tight. But I'm like, yeah, we fold the towels and stuff like that. That was the thing. That was probably a little OCD, and the fact that I sold new construction. I mean, so every house that I went into, I mean, it just, you know, all the lights were on, the lamps were on, everything was going. You know, you just take a few minutes, and optimum would be to obviously get your people to do that. But if you walk in and something's out of sorts or something like that, I don't know. I mean, I'm the guy, and do what you want, but I'm the guy that's going to go in and I'm going to make the kids bed. I'm just going to make it, right? It's just, those things, it's a pattern interrupt for people when they're going through and they're feeling it, and then they go in there and they, you know, relax. Oh gosh, you know, we've got the cat allergy. Yeah, I think I have like 15 cats. I mean, who knows when people, I mean, just, you don't know. And that way, people look past a lot of that, but just, you know, everybody's an opportunity, right? Everybody's an opportunity. And I'm telling you, the perspective right now, the market that's coming, okay? The market that's coming, where there are lots of homes for sale, that is a dog market. When you're on the street and there's 7 houses for sale, yeah, you're repainting the inside of the house. Right? You're like, do something with this yard. Right? I mean, you're taking 30, 35 days to get the houses ready to put on the market. Okay? And you have to. What are you gonna do with that swing set? Yeah, kids don't use it, guys, they haven't touched it in 10 years. Well, let's take the tetanus tower and chop it up and get it home, because I mean, that thing's frightening. And they like some Freddy Krueger stuff you got going on, right? So the odds have become staging areas, put all that extra crap, right? Just have to put your best foot forward. Safety tips, checklist for escape routes, get out of the house. You should always walk behind people, don't walk in front of them, right? I mean, you know, look out there and, you know, cell phone strength, make sure that's good, notify a friend that they call at a set time, walk and they guest during the tour, just little things like that, simple things, right? You know, if you've got a house that's at the end of that long, way back in the thing and down in the hour, and it's winter, and it's overcast, and it's just, and they want you to have an open house. The answer is no, unless you can get somebody to go with you. I'd be afraid to bring someone else in. Hey, we'll get a buyer. If we land a buyer on our time together today, we'll split the deal. Just don't feel comfortable being there by myself. You know, so, and we're going to talk about food raising expireds. That's the story I tell. Well, I'm just curious. When's the best time to show the house? I mean, I know you've taken the liberty of putting your personal, it's always personal, put your personal cell phone on that sign out there. I'm just wondering whether you're going to allow showings. Oh, I don't know. I'm just, you know, I mean, I'm just picturing maybe you're working, you're doing something, you're yourself, and you look at the people, and it's like 4 people standing on the front porch. You can't really see any of their faces because you're just looking down at the ground, but you're going to open up the door and you're going to your home. Yeah, well, that's things we have to think of when we're selling a house on a rental. This is a lockbox. They can only be open by a licensed real estate professional during certain times of the day, and you don't ever have to be here. But anyway, that business sounds like they're, you know what I mean? So we don't have to hit them over the head, right? But I mean, that's true. I mean, you gonna let your grandmother do the FISBA? We're gonna really let grandma Just open the house up and let strangers in the house. Bad idea. Right? That's just a bad idea. But I clearly love my grandmother more than. Yeah, I mean, there's some things, some things are just, people don't think, right? We don't think, we talk about it. So some of the house. Take a picture of this. You can Google this. You can connect and get stuff in this. Here's what this looks like. Sign in the yard. Right? That's level one. There are people that run that plan religiously. Sign in the yard. Sign in the yard. Where does that come from? Show signs on all key corners with buildings and wires. Catch their eye, let them know something's going on. This neighborhood looks like polygon, right? Level 4. Flyers. Some make a social media has that. We got an incredible home right now that's sitting on an acre. Level 5, I go invite the neighbors, 100 minimum. Could be drop mail or whatever. Get on the phone that morning and everybody, right? It could be email blast or something else like that. This is in the area in various price range. Now we're making some assumptions, right, that there might be other things. But I guess the biggest thing to look at here is, as you can see, there's a lot that goes into what's going to happen before we ever rank that. That's the key. That's your takeaway here. Right? All those things may not be the Gorlock neighborhoods and pass out flyers. You know, I do that days in advance because I want to let everybody know. I do for like a safety thing. I do is like, sure, might be some additional traffic, Sunday when we have the open house, right? I'm expecting about 10,000 people. And maybe we'll have, right? But I'm going to tell them, there's going to be some additional traffic and things like that, right? So if anybody blocks your driveway or parks in a way that you're uncomfortable or anything else like this, here's my business card, just call me and I'll make sure they move their car. Yeah, there you go. Better yet, just give me your number and I'll, know it's you, Karen. No, just kidding. All right, so good trust all my leads. So you got to get to a point with them when you're doing your open house, right? And this is where the skill really comes into play. You can't talk them to death. You just can't. You can't tell them everything. It just doesn't work, right? So you've got to be able to like sort of earn a level of trust and rapport, and you've got to build it quickly. Okay, So have you internalized your scripts? Do you know the questions you're going to ask, or are you just winging it? I'd ask everybody the same question. Easy one to start is, oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to introduce myself. Hey, I'm just real curious. How'd you hear about our open house today? They're going to tell me. I say, oh, okay. Because whatever that answer is, they're going to tell me probably where they came from. Oh, well, we saw your signs. We live it. Yeah, okay, so they live in the neighborhood. One of our friends lives in the neighborhood and called and told us about this home. Okay, so is that because I'd love to have you as a neighbor? What's going on there? What are we doing? Why are we telling you about that? You must be ready to move. Whatever. So just do that, right? Clues as to how you can meet their needs, right? What's going on, where you live, you're coming from the area, you live around here, you live on the side of town, you live in Lexington, whatever it may be, all those things about that. Family, school needs and everything is motivating them to come to your open house. What's brought you here today? Right? Are you looking at any other? See, I assume a lot. Are you considering any other communities, or what are the other communities that you're considering about moving to? And they're going, let me tell you where I'm moving. Ask them, what other communities are you looking at? They're going to go, I mean, move this side of town. What's important about this side of town? I'm curious. So what's important about living on this side of town? They're going to tell you what? They're going to tell you. They're going to tell you the motivation. They all want kids to be in the school district, and my parents live right down the street. Okay. They'll tell you all that, right? Create a home, balance the conversation. Balance means you talk a little, they talk a little. Okay? Please refrain from going, so this is the kitchen. And the big rectangle is a refrigerator. Where you folks are from, but we have stoves over here. This one's electricity. It's like, you know about electricity, right? I mean, just be clear. Right? There you go. That's fact. Start doing it, right? The other thing is, if the house is really small, right? Let them walk ahead. Like, don't go. I mean, it's like, come on, right? So we got, show what places are, if you want like steps or something, in the basement, turn the light on, you have the lights on. Things should be in the best possible look, right? Go to home, tell them something positive and distinctive about the home right when they come in. Well, let me just say, guys, we've got a food, take a little walk around and I'll answer any questions that you have. Let me just show you one thing that makes this house really special. And you walk them through the house, right? And then you open the back door and you show them that incredible backyard. Right? It's a really big yard. Yeah, there's like 3 houses in the neighborhood that have a yard this size. Really? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that. So take a look around. I've got some flyers for you and everything, so you can remember our visit today. And I've got a registration card I'd like you to fill out as well. But take a look if you have any questions. Okay. But ask them some questions. What information do they need? If you start to get some answers to these questions and they start talking to you a little bit and everything else like that, I'm probably going to make sure I get their contact information. I'm going to talk about other homes in the area. They say, oh, this probably just isn't for us. Okay, I'm curious. What features are you looking for in a home that this one doesn't have? See, I'm qualifying them. Now I'm talking to them and say, well, we really need a owner suite, on the first floor. We got that need and all that. I said, okay. So now, anything else in the master bedroom being on the second floor that would keep you from buying this home? No, there's one. So you're in the right neighborhood. Like, oh yeah. So you're living in Autumn Ridge is the bedroom. Okay, fantastic. Well, then I'm just going to take them from there, right? Would you like to buy this house? Right? If not, other homes in the neighborhood or neighborhoods will meet their needs. I want to talk about this if we didn't ask any questions. So just ask some questions, general questions, easy one to answer. Because if they know, because if you give them the easy ones, then you can answer the hard ones, right? Referrals, what's in the house for us, blah, blah, blah. You'd be interested in buying this home. Fantastic neighborhood, but you can work if it's not what they want, schedule a consultation to sit down with them. Set up an appointment, automatic property search, right? Like social therapy, it'll send them stuff in the neighborhood. Great follow-up piece, right? Which brings us to, right? This. You can tag these people with the name and the address. You can tag them under open house, right? And put that and literally create a tag that says Autumn Ridge Open House. Open houses plural, and you can put them all in there. And every time you have an open house in that area, every time you're working that farm, you can let all those people going up, coming soon, boom, right? So, follow up with the seller and listing agent, follow up with best, follow up with visiting agents. Someone told me they were working with Daphne. I'd shoot Daphne a text or something and tell her to know the Joneses came in, right? Said they were working with you at some level, seemed to be committed to the neighborhood. It's a great house. Boom, boom, boom. And we're going to share with Daphne something that makes it special. It's one of 3 houses in the neighborhood that have a half-acre lot. I mean, it's, if you notice, I don't know. And Daphne will send me something that makes it sound like they talk every 20 minutes when she hasn't talked to him in 3 years. No, I'm just kidding. If it could be somebody wants to buy with you, this is the next opportunity. This isn't it's really not the right answer, but man, seemed like a great agent and everything, was very attentive, right? Then just selling, blah, 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 blah. Something that right. Haven't met waiting to be converted with match agents. It could be recruited, right? So agent that would maybe want to be recruited to our brokerage. Anything, just for everybody. Golly. I mean, if you've ever had an agent call you for an open house that met one of your customers, it feels so good to know the system works. Like, they ask the question, "Are you looking at anything?" "Yeah, we're with Bill Smith." Fantastic. I'll let them know you stopped by. And you say, "Hey, no, they stopped by. Why wouldn't you?" "Yeah, really? Did they like it? Did it have a basement? No basement? Everyone we showed them has a freaking basement. It's got a big ground bathroom in the back. A giant yard. Okay, yeah, we've been in all basement. So stuff that hasn't put together. Make doing business with you easy. And do yourself to the other agents out there. They will work hard to put deals together. The playbook again, QR code. So talks about picking the house, pre-booking, hosting it, and then follow up. So that's some good information there on that playbook. So oh, you're still showing on that. No, okay. What time did this class start? What time?
12:30.
Great. Fast at 12. We're right on schedule. It's 10 to 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's more for me. You guys, if you have to go or whatever you gotta do. Follow up on this. It's the prospecting piece, right? What is his name? Would you be interested in selling your home at this address to a client of mine? If so, please call me at this number. Again, you can make it anything you want, right? The golden letter saw when you'll see more of that when there's a shortage of inventory. I mean, you're looking for one. You hit everybody. Works a whole lot better when it's an area that I'm farming and I have open houses and I've sold houses. And maybe I have some listings, right? If I had a listing in a neighborhood and I was sending out the golden letter, I currently got the house listed at 123 Banana Street. And while we've had a great response, I'm interested in finding some additional inventory. Would you be interested in selling the home? Right? Physicals and expired. So again, let me ask you a question about physicals and expired. What are these two in common?
They both want to sell the house.
There you go. That's the same one. Every day we look for people that what? Want to sell their house. So when you hear people say physicals and expires are crazy, or they're unrealistic, or this, or they're that, or whatever, here's the thing. They literally, these people want to sell their house. They convince themselves that they can do it on their own and they're going to make more money. There's so many ways that's wrong, right? And sometimes they just got to figure it out on their own, which is where follow-up comes in. Right? It's not that they don't want to use an agent. Most physicals will tell you straight up, right? You bring it down, I'll pay you 3%. They don't know they're not supposed to refer to commissions and things like that, but people say, "I'll pay you a commission." I'll pay you a commission. And that tells you, you can immediately know exactly what money they think they're saving. Because if the house is $100,000 and they say, "We'll pay you 3," but in their mind, they're saving 3,000 by not listing it. They've done the math. $2,000, I mean, that's a lot of money. Yeah. Well, look at the numbers, and I think I can sell your house for 120. Because I'm going to put it on the open market. Don't get me wrong, that sign you made out of that pizza box is impressive, but you should see mine, right? Expired. They listed their house with an agent, signed an agency agreement, agreed to pay who's involved in the transaction, did that the things. House didn't sell. So both these people, let's make sure in our mind, we know those people can sell their house. And it's not, they don't want to sell their house because of the money. They want to sell the house because there's a motivation for something else. Bigger house, a smaller house, downsize, an upsize, a better location, moving out with something. But there's the people that go for sell now when they've got to have the house sold and be in Arizona to start the new job. And you're going to get all that done. If you don't sell your house, well, I moved to Arizona and I just rent a place until my wife and kids can get back here. to ourselves and their wife and kids will move there. What do kids think about that? I asked that question. Have you checked in with the 9-year-old? Because I'm pretty sure, here's where I go, because I'm pretty sure she would really prefer just to have you tuck her in bed tonight.
It's about our street.
I've got 6 of my own, and I know how their brain works, right? Okay, listed, no. These are, this information from NAR. I didn't want to pay commission. Those. They don't want to pay commission. That's interesting, isn't it? Right? And the people that, you know, pay commission, 33% of the sellers, right? They knew. In other words, they did a FSBO because the neighbor next door said, "Man, if you ever sell your house, your oldest son, he'd buy that rascal." And then they on the other end, they said, "So it's sale." Like 61% of the sellers didn't know them, right? So the friend or neighbor, right? That's when FSBO, right? So we sold 24%. 23% didn't know, you know, they did not know them, 7 knew them, and then 45%. Buyer contacted the seller directly, only 15% of the time, right? But this here's the important one here. 85% of them had an agent. So Mr. Fisbell, I want you to understand, 85% of the buyers out there are using a real estate agent. And they're doing it because it's a really big investment and they want to pull a professional into not only them find the right house, but also guide them through the process. In your particular price range, we're probably talking about a first time home buyer. Like there's someone that's savvy enough. Really wonder why you don't see $1 million homes for Fisbell. They don't have the time, they don't jack up, we understand it, right? I actually called a Fisbell. 1.3 million. Fisbell. No. Expired. I don't know. Anyways, she got the appointment, got the listing. Doing a deal with agent, again, extremely low, right? Agent was unable to sell the home. Seller has a real estate license, you can see, could not find us. So for whatever reason you think they might use an agent, didn't pay commission is it's only half of them. Right, it's only half of them. There's really not a great reason why. Right, maybe in the house when you're talking about expired, price relative to the market, poor condition, not marketed well. Guys, here's the thing. But write this down and learn these 2 things right here. There's only 3 reasons a house does not sell. Only 3: price, condition, location. It's it. There's nothing else, right? So when your seller goes, I need to sell it for more money. I don't like that price, right? Mr. Seller, here's the thing. There's only 3 reasons why the house doesn't sell: the price, the condition of the home, and the location. And then I write on the tails of them, name those 3. I tell them which one they've got, which one they nailed, which is, of course, there's only 2. It's either location and condition. Because we know the price is jacked up. That's why all this conversation. The price is too high. So I'm going to tell him which one of those he's got going for him right now. And you've got an incredible location. It's one of the most popular neighborhoods in Lexington. Every day's on market is 4. We've been on the market for 27. So great location. I mean, and really your house is immaculate. All that leaves is price. It leaves some price resistance. It's not the house isn't worth it or won't be worth it or whatever, but based on what's happening in your neighborhood, this isn't holding the price. We're seeing pushback from the market where it's telling us there's some price resistance. But can't they just make an offer anyway, though? I mean, just make a, whatever, right? Make a low ball. How are you going to feel when they bring a low ball? Well, I mean, I'll be mad, but it's something. If there's something, we're going to get a home sale. The average home in this neighborhood sells for 98.7% of list price. So it sounds like if we put the right price on it, we're going to get close to 100% of ask. Yeah. And I've got data to back that up, right? Again, it's just that, just reps, right? But again, at the end of the day, see, sellers think you're going to try to beat them down on price to make it easier to sell, because you want to get paid, right? That's what they say. That's why you never talk about price, sell. You always talk about price, condition, location. They know which ones they got. I back up to the 18th green. My house is immaculate. We did the whole inside of it. Yeah, that, right? Right? Succeed with those both and expires, being aggressive and direct. But you don't have to be that way. You really just have to educate them. Just if you can get them to turn the corner, you'll be great. Here's why. Because most of them, it's about 35 to 60 days they hire an agent. There's those, yeah. And expires, you just got to find them and get in front of them, because you know what? They ran it once. There was a reason they wanted to sell their house, right? I'm just curious, when you hired the last agent that didn't sell your house in 182 days, what was your primary motivation for moving? I'm just curious. Yeah, well, that's what we think we're going to hire the same agent we had before. That's probably what we're going to do. So I'm curious, what can we do differently? But they didn't the last time the house was on the market for 172 days. I'm just asking. I mean, there's only 5 objections, and we teach you the objection handler for all of them. Right? We're going to sell it on our own. We know all the reasons why that's a bad one, right? Okay. 6 ways to get the listing. Get the listing, find a buyer for the house, right? That's how you win. You find the buyer, okay? Help them buy a new home, that becomes a rate as well. Refer the seller to another agent. We're out of town moves. If somebody says we're selling our house to move to Michigan, right? You absolutely need to find them out, somebody in Michigan. Find 3 agents for an interview. All those agents do it. Okay? And then provide that information to your client with a 25% referral, right? Now, I'm not going to give my client's name to those other agents, right? And I'm not going to give those other agents, there'll be none of that until I speak to the agent and they sign a referral agreement. Then they can reach out to my client, or my client will reach out to them. And I button up the paperwork side of it. It's what professionals do. I mean, just don't even worry about it. You can actually put them in command, and you can actually keep them in your command for, there's a whole place for referrals. And you can put them in there and you can link them, and then whenever anybody wants to go anywhere, you can have a little referral agent. A lot of people in Kentucky go to referral. Right. We have agents in this office, there's split time between the two. Michael Griffey lives in Florida half the year, and he lives here the other half. He's dual license. All right. Potential customers, bring the host over business rights, sell out of business or the content that transaction agent, right? If that feels better says, hey, you know, I actually got a buyer right now, I just don't know what to do. Oh, well, I can be a transaction agent on that and make sure that they're selling everything. Yeah, charge them a flat fee, right? Whatever you want to do, right? What can I do to help you today? Offer your expertise, offer services. You know, when you offer expertise and services, you're kind of poking a hole in that hole. I can do it without a real estate agent. Here's another great one for both of them. FSBOs especially. The average transaction, there's a seller. There's a buyer's agent and a seller's agent. There's a broker for the buyer, a broker for the seller. There's an insurance agent and a home inspector and a loan officer and an underwriter, okay, and an appraiser. And then there's a closing attorney that's going to handle all the title work. With all those resources, not every deal closes. And yet you, Mr. FSBO, have decided to take on all that yourself using a contract that bought at Office Depot. That's what you do. Just look off in his face. If you give him this one after you say it. That's why I'm there. No. It's like, think about it. I mean, that is the truth. So finish, but yet the Steve contract and the buyer said that's going to suddenly come together. Because the only person the buyer has in their coin is a loan officer. That's it. And ChatGPT. It's like chat that's not going to be cars. I mean, just so that it's like 80-something% of the Facebook deals fall out. I mean, it was some of those emotional buyers and sellers. Let's get them on the phone together. I think, don't you? I got 5 or 6 I'm talking to right now. I mean, I'm going the same. So I was gonna know because you can't get them together. They don't even know each other. They're just me. Yeah. I got some people I can refer to so you can get it. So and seriously, know what you're going to say. We have like Taylor Connect put into this dialogue script. Know what you're going to say. If there's those, and again, we don't have them, but they're out there. And depending on how the market shifts, you can have them. What you want to do is, you need to be ready for that appointment, right? You need to be ready for that appointment. Agents that work FSBOs, they have a system. It's a heavy system because you're juggling a lot of people, right? You're juggling a lot of people. There are companies that will help you get the numbers for these people, phone numbers to call. And people get on FSBO like when they look up numbers and stuff like that. Check the applicable call list, right? When I sell real estate, I used to tell my friends if you ever roll up on FSBO sign, right? Take a picture of it, text it to me and tell me what street you're on. And I would call them up and say, hey, we're in the neighborhood. And we're going down such and such a street. It's not a house for sale. It's actually in the middle of my day, so I didn't have an opportunity to stop, but I did want to see if there was a time where I could possibly come in and see the home. I sell homes in that area. And in fact, that's actually one of my geographic farms and everything like that. Have you pursued any of my yeah. What's your name? Bo Smith. You got something? Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Again, there's no in my farm. Right? I'm going to be on it. So the 8x8, met two us to get one off it. But there's no packet, right? It does not have any marketing in it. We'll talk about it. Yeah, because we're not going to give them a marketing plan if they go do it and they tell us goodbye, right? Really? Right? So
that happened to her, people, and she would tell them what all to do, and then they did it.
Yeah, you gotta, I mean, you just, that's not what we're there. And remember, you got your foot in the door by saying you wanted to come see them home. Right? Now, if they, oh my gosh, absolutely. Then maybe you bring something, and if the conversation's going well, and you can see that they're motivated, right? Because that's one of the questions today. So I'm just curious. What's the reason you guys are selling that home? What are your plans? They're going to tell you, right? They ask them what you're telling you. Okay, now, and how soon do we have to be in Michigan? Right? They're going to say, oh, okay. Right. And then you're going to ask them how it's going, and I'll talk to you in a minute about what that looks like. But anyways, so we're going to basically, this is a physical 8x8. 8x8 in the word in all of it means 8 touches in 8 weeks. 1 touch a week, you're sending them something, right? First touch, leave a physical packet, listing packet, something like that, some information to look over, potentially. Touches 2 through 3, postcard or letter. Just a touch call after one of your meetings. Again, we're doing some frequency, right? We're like the pedal in their shoe, okay? Touch 4, make a telephone call. Hey, just call me, check in, see if you took a look at any of that information that I sent or that I left over. How's everything going? Postcard or letters for each touch call after one of them. Touch 8, make a telephone call. Now, I'm going to give you what I did with FSBOs, and it was a little more simple. simpler. And the reason I did it, because I like a spreadsheet, and there were a lot of FSBOs. Okay, there are a lot of FSBOs out there. So when there's a lot of FSBOs, you need literally a spreadsheet to keep up with them, right? It can be 10, 15 or whatever like that, all of them every week. Every single week they got a phone call from me. Okay. And as I was talking to them and everything, I was like, that was that, John? How's everything going? I'm like, yeah, Bruce Smith, just checking in on you. Hey, I gotta ask you, this is Monday, by the way, right? This is Monday, and I say, hey, did you have a fortune to sell your house this weekend? And they go, no. And hey, that's okay. How many offers did you get? None. None. Also, no offers. Okay, how many showings? None. Zero. Okay. So, well, how many people called and just, kind of ask questions about this? How they go? Phone didn't ring. Johnny, you ready for me to list your house? Get you to Michigan. I know it's important to you. Yeah, I think so, Bo. Okay. You have people actually, you go to that first meeting and they'll go, will you list our house here? Okay, DM. We'll be like, that work right here. No, so people will ask you when you go to see their house, right? And you just, and you don't sell it. It's just like, here's the thing, in the back of them, it's bad to do that. And when they come in, they got to have this FSBO in 15 and tell them, and here's the thing, that could be absolute truth. To them, it sounds like nothing more than you just being a snake. You know what I mean? Because they go to the house if you want to see it. I'll be honest, I haven't taken a hard look at the comps and everything else like that. Now, you know what? It sounds like there's a consultation, get you guys some information so you can make a decision. Okay? Well, at the same time tomorrow, as I'm here today, with 3 o'clock tomorrow, like show it through on Tuesday, 3 o'clock tomorrow, just plan on coming back and everything. I mean, I still want to see the home today while I'm here, and we'll finish the tour. Yeah, let me talk to my husband first. Okay. Your phone's over there. All right, no, I'm kidding. No, no. So, do that, and that's it's a piece, right? But I mean, it's that right there. So it gets what I like about that is you asked them about the best outcome. They said no. What are we getting showings? No. Phone call? No. And you know what they're trying to realize? This isn't a great idea. This is not a great idea, right? So take action, practice handling objections. You'll have confidence in what you know, you'll know what to say. Team, this is everything. Right? Practice your dialogues and handling objections. Here's the thing. You'll do more lead gen. When it's as easy as like talking about your family, when somebody says, gosh, I mean, you don't do that, right? So just know what you're going to say, know how you're going to present yourself, and just look at what those dialogues look like. What's the step? We need a database, and everybody goes to the database, right? There's those. Now, the reason I say weekly on that follow-up, I'm blowing them up. We know though from NAR does the studies, they find the real estate agents somewhere around 35 to 60 days. I mean, that's about how long it takes them to go. We have wasted a freaking month and got nothing. Or they had those one people that came in their house and walked around and smelled like cigarette smoke. And people look at houses that smell like cigarette smoke, but they were there, see it. They were there. Just all these things are happening that are showing them that that's not really awesome, right? Send a thank you card. They're the best. Hey, Bob and Sally, thank you so much for letting me home, right? And you just keep filing until the rest will keep it and sell it. They're going to pick an agent. We want it to be us. Expires, we talked about, so our steps to work, same thing, practice our things, we know what to say. Expires are very much like a FSBO, except that they had tried to sell their house and it didn't go well. Didn't sell. You can get on the MLS, you can see how long it was for sale, we'll figure out how much it was overpriced. We'll look at the pictures and see if it was, you know, and a great question when you're on the phone call with these people is ask them. So I'm just curious, the house was on the market for 127 days. Why do you think it didn't sell? Right? Or you don't want to say why. We try to stay away from why questions, but I would say something like, you know, what do you think was keeping your home from selling in those 130 days it was on the market? Well, it was priced too high. Give it away. Okay, I don't think anybody's expecting you to give it away. Let's do this. As soon as they answer that question, I'm setting an appointment. We sit down and do a comprehensive pricing analysis and talk about strategies that we can do to get your house sold. If your house has sold, what we define. Now, the reason I want to rise, I get to their motivation, right? They're done, beach. Oh my gosh. So I got to ask, what was important about living in Carolina Beach? Well, it's our favorite vacation spot. It's always been a dream. Do you think they're going to let 10 grand stand in the way of the ring? No, but the right person has to know that. You know, I know how to serve it up, right? All things considered, you know. Did you have your heart set on a particular location? Yeah, we wanted to live in Seaside or some kind of community right down there. Okay, now I'm writing that down because I can start figuring out what's down there, what's for sale. I'm going to find an agent down there, right? Then we'll call them up and say, hey, I've got a market listing down there. Need to get you some information on that. You can start doing your job, right? You can start impressing them, right? Agent referrals. Let me wrap up on this today. So, agents look at referrals in a lot of different ways. Was last year in production, she made $33,000 in referral fees. That's her getting the 25%. And all she did was funnel them. She got from Facebook and different things like that. And she was in some referral groups and different things like that. That's her providing customers that were moving out of state to other agents. And pretty good little chunk of business right there. The pros, right? You receive a ready customer. Now, the only con of being referrals, 15 to 30% referral fee. Okay. Most of what I see is 25. Okay. 25%. It's you know, you're going to earn 70 to 80% of the commission, maybe 75, right? Customers well served by you. Customer becomes a net, you have an opportunity to work with customers repeating business. Do not just hand them over and forget about them. You're pulling that referral agent and it's your client. You continue to treat them like your client that lives right down the street in Lexington. With me, I don't just let them go. With my client who referred them for business. Okay, agent may continue to refer to you if all parties are satisfied. Validity was already established. Take the time, right? Take the time. The pros, right? Giving. So that's receiving referrals, right? Okay. Giving referrals, okay. You get a 15 to 30% referral. I'm sorry. Receiving was we were getting the customer. Somebody's referring the customer in from flip-flop. This side was somebody who said, hey, Bo, I guess somebody lives in Columbus, Ohio, wants to move to Richmond. So I get the referral. Pay out the referral fee. All right. Now you give someone a referral, then you're going to pay them, right? You choose the agent, customers well served. The agent will reciprocate, refer to you. So I don't know, agents, it's wrong. I get calls from brokers where agents want to stick each other on their referral fee. Like, dude, they handed you a red, whatever that has picked up. That's a good pay, right? I mean, get the referral fee. Because if someone, and I'm handing them off to another agent, I'm going to get a 25% referral fee for a name and a phone number. It's not a bad deal. But it's a great deal for them because you're gonna edify them and say, hey, this is who I'm handing the deal off to. They live down in Panama City, top producing real estate agent, runs a great business. I've known him for 10 years. Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, yeah, when you guys get referral, everybody got a referral yet? Okay, here's that. So this, you walk up to the front of the house to knock on the door for the listing appointment that you were referred to from someone else. And then you're trying to do your presentation, and I think, and we get the list of hey, everything. Great question. And let's take a moment. I'm going to give you a range this evening to look at. We'll take a minute and go through. Yeah, we talked to so and so. They said you're awesome. Well, they're right. And we're going to do this. Right? Just as, I mean, that's literally right. You get that strong. I mean, it's like boom. Yeah, we were thinking 625, but you know, Sally. She said it straight. She said, any over 580, you're thinking to yourself, go Sally. Right? So they remember things like that. So just keep keep that in mind. All right. Agent referrals, I mean, we can be referred to all sorts of where the heck did the thing go? Sorry, Mo's lost his place. Have the class without finishing up on the lead conversion side of things. Okay, so 10 steps for getting an appointment. Right, first, ask for the appointment. Do not tell anyone. Well, if you ever want to take a look at that, or if you're ever thinking about it, better than that. Now, you can say that it's kind of open. When you're talking to someone about real estate, or you go to someone, you get the appointment. You've got one job, set appointments. Absolutely essential. Everyone you're talking to, just about the time you think you're going to start giving them some data over the phone and you're going to start educating them, just stop and say, okay, so the next step will be for us to sit down and do a consultation. Okay, mornings or afternoons better for you. Just get the appointment, right? Get the appointment. Your odds go up dramatically, and they're not going to do anything without them anymore. 8 months away. Okay, well, that's exactly what I probably need. Market's constantly changing, right? We're seeing a little bit of a shortage of inventory right now, so mornings or afternoons work better for you. Don't say, can we meet? I'd like to meet. Can we please? None of that, right? Be an expert in the market. Be confident. You're confident when you understand the process. You understand the process that I was doing the same process. This system, build a system, build a presentation. Okay, doesn't have to be the presentation that somebody uses that says $500 million worth of real estate. This will be a presentation that has all the pieces and allows you to go in and ask the questions. My mind races a little bit. I used to have my list of questions on a piece of paper, and there was space to write under each one. And I took notes. I told them up front, I was going to take notes. I'm going to be taking some notes tonight, so if it feels like I'm moving slowly through a few areas, it's just important because I know the questions we're going to ask you tonight are going to have a lot to do with the level of success that we have selling your home. Okay? Right? So ask questions and ask them. Listen, I'm from contribution. Good clarity. Hold on a minute, Frank. Now, when you say there, right, and sound like time frames sound the same as Frank's. Well, I know faster than Frank. Okay, Frank, you sound? Yeah, that's all I ever do. Okay, but you better talk. You get seek respond quickly, communicate in person as much as you can. If it's something that's touchy, we would love to text it, but people will get frustrated texting you. The conversation takes so much longer, and what ends up happening is start to finish, they're more pressured up. By the time you get done, than if you just called them up and explained it to them, right? Don't deliver bad news via text, right? It just take an opportunity, and if you call them and they don't answer it, hey Sally, I've got some clarity on that those HOA restrictions. Give me a call real quick. I'm at work. Can you text? I really want to make sure we understand this. So when can I call? This, you know the best way to do it. They have no idea. They're going in that. You know what I'm saying? Driving down the road, 75 miles an hour, screaming at the kids in the backseat. Yeah, no, I mean, they're on speakerphone. Somebody get in the background because it's a headache. I mean, so it's just tough. This is interesting. You guys are both relatively new in business, right? Okay. I told you it was a way to distance yourself from anywhere from 60 to 80 to 90% of the herd that is the Bluegrass Association of Realtors. Like literally take those people off the table for competition. You would listen. Yes? Okay. It's conversion, right? And follow it. So this is crazy, right? This is crazy. 40% of salespeople never follow up a prospect. Almost never follow up. When I say never follow up, they never call them again. They meet them at an open house, they have a conversation, they never call them again. Someone calls in from a sign call and asks them questions about their listing, never call them again. Crazy. 25% of the salespeople make a second contact and stop. So 1 out of 4 actually is and makes contact, but doesn't do anything after that. So they do make the second call. 12% make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10 of the salespeople make more than 3 contacts. Only 10%. You're literally, if you're making 3 contacts or more, you're in 10% of the real estate agents out there. That just meant, here's the thing, that just took our board of 4,000 down to 400. 2% of sales were made on the first contact. So if we call them once and stop them, that's 2% of the time. That's why I started with class and I said, you don't have a lead problem, you have a conversion problem. Because most agents, 3% second, 5% third, 10% fourth, 80% of the sales are made on the 5th or 12th contact. Now, it doesn't have to be a phone call, but it can be 12 text messages. Hi, how are you? There'll be some meat in there, right? But this one right here, if I recommend taking a picture of it and make it your screensaver on your phone, unless there's somebody really, really special on your phone. But right there is sales. This is everybody, right? Car sales, insurance sales, furniture sales people, real estate agents, insurance agents. It's all there. The point we're driving home is follow up is key, right? When we talk about conversion, zero lines on the next 12 months. It's a great person to have in your pipeline. If you put it in the next 12 months, if you put it in every single day, at the end of 12 months, you'll have somebody raising their hand every day. With me? So that's why you never stop filling the database, because you want to make up that time lag. The agents that don't make up the time lag are those chasing a deal. But when you're keeping up with people 6, 7 months, you know, and you're taking them through all those life events, I mean, you got all the contact information, you understand their motivation, and they give you permission to follow up. They give you permission to stay in touch with them. And the way you get permission to stay in touch is you ask them. And the way they typically they provide their contact information. So everyone else might do something with you sometime in the future. Please follow up all the time. Now, everyone else, that's probably a little more general. Right? Just keeping my name in front of them, like different things like that. Lots of different things over there. Okay. You're going to classify your potential customers. Basically, it's going to be based on quickly, then you need to have a consultation, right? I'm always pushing for right now. It gets it all on a plate. Then they go into another follow-up. So there are people walking around out there, but if you ask them when they would be ready, they say 2 years. And you meet with them and they're like, yeah, we'll do this tomorrow. They don't know. How are you supposed to know? I mean, it's like you go to the doctor, you start telling the doctor what's wrong, they're all ears. And you start going, now, doc, this one thing that we do next. That's when they're like, shut it. I'll tell you what we're going to do next. We're putting this, putting that, putting that exercise. Don't wait for that. We'll listen, right? But decide how much to cover in your consultation. Good consultation is about 20 minutes, 20 to 30. It might be a little bit if I'm missing a $3 million home on acreage with equine infrastructure. It's going to look a little different, right? And yet, you'll find the challenge with people with high net worth individuals, they really safeguard their time. Just don't waste their time. And then they're going to want to move quickly, right? And they're tracking everything that you say, right? There's nothing wishy-washy, right? Determine what to do for follow-up. And if you want, if there's people that you don't jive with, refer them, right? Refer them to someone else. And if you just can feel it, it feels uncomfortable, right? Move on, right? Move on. If it's not good business for you. Living your goals. So as we wrap up, we talked about this class 36-12-3. Make 36 or more transactions this year. All right. You need to know why. All right. You need to know why. You need to understand what that means to you. Now we can do the math. 36 transactions times, average commission of $9,000. And then we can back out your cap. It's a big number, right? And it's a big number. You're 200 and you over 250 grand, right? So that's good. That's awesome. What's that mean to you, right? What's that going to do for you? Because here's the thing. Now, some agents will disagree with me. Working to make 250 grand, that's not the motivator, right? The motivator is what's the 250 grand going to do for you? How does it show up in your life, your family's life, and everything else like that? I quit working for a paycheck a long time ago, right? There are things that there are things in my life that I want to do, that Charlie and I want to do, and one of my things is if any one of my grandkids, I've got 3 now, probably end up with some more, but if any of them ever want to go to college, their college will be paid for. I mean, that's what that looks like, right? And that's one of those things that's important to me. Because making the money is not the fuel. What you can do with the money, that's the fuel, right? And that's a you thing. That's a quiet time on the back porch, letting your mind wander and let go of some stuff and think about what works best to you. The numbers that we talk about are the models of the MREA. There's 4 of them, right? If you ever go into a class, somebody's going to say, "Hey, who can name the 4 models of the MREA?" And you guys are going to know this because I'm going to teach you the acronym. ELBO. Right? So that's what the organizational model. Spending time here in the lead generation model. That's kind of what we've been talking about in 36-12-3. There's an economic. If you want to make $100,000 in real estate, here's what you need to do. You find 2 appointments a week. Literally 2 appointments. That's it. Over time, based on average industry conversion rates, you'll make $100K. After paying your cap and your expenses, net pre-tax, $100,000, 2 appointments a week. We know this because it's just the math. It's in the economic movement. I built that fit. Like you can actually, if you guys ever want to do this, let me know. I'll sit down with you and we can do it. And I'll get the tools out. And you tell me how much money you want to make. I'll tell you exactly what you got to do every single day to get there. How many appointments you have to set. Could be appointments with physicals, expireds, people you know, first time homeowners, or whatever. And here's the thing. You're taking into consideration the conversion rates that are industry averages. How many people you talk to actually set an appointment? How many of those appointments actually turn into listings, either a buyer listing or a seller listing? Okay, and of the ones that turn into an appointment, how many do you actually find a house for or sell? Right, and then how many actually close? Yeah, conversion rate's built in. It's 2. It's actually not even 2. It's 1.7. Rounded up to 2. I mean, we focus on so many things in this business, and yet, if you're setting appointments with people to talk about real estate, okay, where they are. It's a better contact. It goes into your database. You're going to find the now buyers, the now sellers. You're going to find those people. You're going to become so adept at having the conversation and the speak, right? I don't sell real estate anymore, right? I did sell a house. I did sell a house 2 months ago. Because the owner of the house made me sell it. I was like, no, we don't need to. I'm like, okay.
The ones still live ones.
It was a college roommate. It was his parents' house. And they passed away. He actually passed away. It was his wife who was a widow now. And so it was like, it was just a lot of emotion. God. I mean, it was, anyway, so Stephen work, whatever, and it was one of those just listed, better get sold, check that thing out in 2 days. Some guy came that absolutely had to have it. And it was a dialogue for you. So that I don't just like rattle this stuff off, but here's the real world. We're gonna bring it off. It's gonna be cash will close in 14 days. And I'm like, well, this is an extremely high neighborhood, very exotic. We got a price right. We got a price to move. It's in great shape. So obviously, if you're bringing me an offer on day 2 on the market, it needs to be full price or better. No contingencies, no inspection, no appraisal, and cash. He goes, yeah, we can do all those. So, oh, boss, you can go ahead and get respected, but don't give me anything. Okay. So you had that conversation with my that's pretty super nice, and that was out. It's like 325. 17 shows. I said, you had all the showings now. This thing's done. You better bring it and bring it all. And he's like, oh, I'm with you. I will. He was a veteran agent, but been out there. He knew this guy. So he knew his buyer. I knew his buyer had a ton of money. So was buying it for his grandson to live in. So they were going to renovate it, and all these big plans, and grandpa and the son. I mean, it was all, I got it all up, after the fact. But it was they came, they went through. So I mean, and sometimes they call you and they bring an offer like that, and you're like, I'm not canceling the showings. I'm going to take that offer. What are you not going to take? I'm not going to throw it to my seller. That's 17 showings. You can share that. That's 17. Come on now. You want it, So, anyway. You guys have any questions? So we're minutes over. It's good stuff here. That's all in the red book. Are you guys reading the real estate agent? You are? Okay. You know how to read? I'm just kidding. She was, yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. It's a great book. It was around forever, with a red book, right? And then they took it and they threatened for 20 years. They threatened that he's going to write a new version of the MREA, right? Not about 10 years, 10, 15 years. Right? So I guess the closest they came to him writing a new one was to write Jay Papasan, real estate agent. And I think it's really, really cool because we as a company believe that the next generation of top producing real estate agents are you guys. The people that are in this right now. Let me tell you why. You're in a market that's not feeding you ridiculous stuff like $25,000 over list price with you know, no appraisal contingency and a appraisal gap and all this crazy stuff that we got in interest rates of 3%. I mean, and prices were just going like this. It was just going, I mean, it's like, best stuff comes around, go get it. Get all of it. Get all you can. Problem was we had people get into the business and they believe that was the business. Now, pendulum swung back the other way, right? And those people are lost. And some of them have been in business for 2 or 3 years, 4 or 5 years. They're adjusting. 80% of the agents that were in the business pre-COVID are not in the business anymore because they wouldn't evolve. Right? You guys don't have to evolve because the market you're coming into and you're working in was like the market I started in. Right? 6 months worth of inventory. Right now you guys are at 30 days worth of inventory at best. Right? A balanced market, just like right in the middle, 6 months worth of inventory. So we're still in an acute, right, seller's market because the inventory needs well, right? You get your price, during the higher price, tough on the players, less selection, right? So the other end of the spectrum is the buyer's market. There's a ton of stuff for sale and everything's very price low because it's very competitive. So right in the middle there, the 6 months worth of inventory, we're still at 30 days worth of inventory in a seller's market. The biggest struggle we have right now though is we have a shortage of buyers that are ready, willing, and able. Right? It's just, I mean, we're going to sell 4 million homes nationally, which is what we sold last year and the year before. And we're going to sell 4 million this year, and we'll sell 4 million next year, and then it will start going back up. How many houses you want to sell in a year? What's your goal?
I did write down 36 transactions,
Okay.
between like buying, selling, leasing, and referrals.
Fantastic. 36 transactions. So there's absolutely no reason you can't find 36 transactions in this market. If you look what you're supposed to look, your activities are in line with that, and you decide to prospecting based, marketing enhanced, and just do your follow-up, right? The only challenge that is somewhat outside of your all's control is not that you're new, it's that you're just starting. And you're going to have the people that you're talking to, you haven't talked to them long enough. You with me? But now buyers are great. But the people that you need frequency with, you don't have the frequency because you just haven't been doing it long enough. You know, what we've got to really make sure of is as time is going on, we're not missing any, squandering any opportunities to reach out, to touch, to say hello, drip campaign, right? Neighborhood nurture, start doing it, right? The other thing is those people start talking to other people in their communities. You know, hey, I love a real estate agent, you know, you have to build that mind share. It takes time. Right? So the way you overcome that is you do more prospecting, which will find the now buyers. They're also doing the marketing to everybody that you know and the people that you meet and everything else like that. First 12 months in the business, so $11.3 million for real estate. It came from sales. I was been in sales. I was coming from the mortgage business. I was a mortgage broker. And so I had a big database full of people. And it's the same conversation. They're the same people, right? So that gave a little bit of a jump. And my average sale price was like 580. Because I was also selling luxury new construction. That year, my lowest price listing was 78,000. Most expensive was like $1.3 million. So everything was doing. Now I've been working on wins, ran all the crazy man, like a crazy man. Worked all the freaking time, 7 days a week, no systems, no nothing. Right, just got in and started running. Yeah. Right. So and then began to know and implement some of these things that pay huge dividends because it's the timepiece. You don't have to miss out on anything. You have to work all the time, you know. But what you have to do is focus on the things that are going to make the greatest impact. 20% of what you do gets you 80% of the results. Agents focus on the 80% that gets them 20% of the results. That's why they get behind, you know? I mean, agents talk to me about how much they're working and how long they've been working and, you know, how tired they are. And I'm like, I'm working to. I mean, where's the systems? Where's the protocol? I hired in the system the day I got a real estate, I hired a system. I managed to run for quite a long time, didn't even know how to use the MLS. I didn't learn it because I didn't do paperwork. I still don't. I still don't do paperwork. I'm a transaction coordinator. The keeper for one reason. Sometimes agents call me on the weekend and go, "Oh, we need to write a contract." And I'm like going, "Yes, we do." And let me tell you who he is. Her name's Lisa. I'll connect you on the freeway and just. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's gonna cost you $325 and she's gonna take you with everything. And I promise you, after this transaction, you'll use her every single time, right? I mean, it's data entry, right? I even know you better, you guys will figure that out. Do know and how, never was trying to go out and stuff like that, but you're in the latest business of the world. Sales cycle for real estate is the same as the sales cycle for the car business, the same as it is for selling insurance, selling financial services. Look at what it is. Every sales job, the sales cycle is the same. So if the sales cycle is the same, why wouldn't you sell the biggest ticket? That's what I look at it. We're having the same conversation if we wait for a car dealership. Right? The only difference is we'd all be chain smoking. That's an old joke, but seriously, I mean, think about it. I mean, it was right behind. So if it's all things being considered, and I need a database in every sales job, okay, then so there was something.